Peppa Pig on that and then Bluey on the TV.
Hey, everybody, welcome to my show. I am here with the family of Devin, Julie, and their son Raider, as everybody is aware of who Little Raider is. So I will shout out to the chat in a little bit, but not right now. I want to have Devin formally introduce the family to everybody that's here, to the audience. Go ahead, Devin.
My name is Devin. This is my wife, Jolie. Sorry, Raiders decided to beat up Mama right now. And this is Little Raider.
What's up, buddy? Hey.
Can we say hi?
Say hi. Hi. Raider.
Ray.
Hey, buddy. There he is. Such a ball of
sunshine.
So, why don't you just tell us a little bit about your family and, how many kids and, whatever you want to divulge with the family so everybody gets a full picture.
Yep. So Jolie and I have been married for 6 years, babe, or 7?
6.
6 years. And we have an older son named Devin Jr. And we have Little Raider here. And we had Autumn Wind. And we are having another one. We're 29 weeks. This is going to be Jasmine Ray. Yeah, I'm going to get a sister. Can you say Jasmine Ray? We met online and through pen palship and stuff like that. And I moved all the way from Washington, Texas. She jumped on a plane and came to Texas, and she was there at the airport waiting for me.
He's having his own fun over there.
Oh,
so yeah. I gotta ask you this. Obviously you're a Raiders fan. How did you guys agree to come up with to name him Raider? Trust me, it's a great name. I absolutely love it.
So I wanted Raider to be Devin Jr.'s name. I begged and pleaded, and Jolie was absolutely no. As the nation can see, my wife is a diehard Cowboys fan. She loves her Cowboys.
We won't fault her for wearing that shirt tonight. She,
right?
Like I said, she can wear whatever shirt.
Yep, she didn't wear her jersey. We had to talk her not, but long story short, I begged and pleaded. She said no, and so then we agreed on Devin Jr. And so then obviously Devin Jr. is 5 years old. He's nonverbal autistic, and so that a lot of challenges with that. And so then with when we found out we were having Raider, I kept continuously begging and pleading. I started rubbing the feet, and if you ask my wife, I don't massage. I'm horrible about it. She's 29 weeks pregnant. I still don't do it as much as I should. But I did. I started hitting the feet all the time, and I was begging, and I was just dropping those bombs. Raider, it's such a beautiful name. Raider Andrew Rogers. Isn't that just, it flows, and so she kept saying, you keep doing the feet thing, we'll talk about it. And then just kind of just opened the door, and I just continued. And she finally one day just said, you know what? I like the name Raider too.
Yeah. So real quick, before we start really getting into the little bit more involved questions about Raider and his condition and everything, just want to hit up the chat, check in with who's here. As we all know, chat lives matter. So we've got Robert Pena in the house. What's up, Robert? We've got Rorschach in the house. Silver and Black Radio Podcast. What's up, Will?
Black, brother.
Then we got Raider Paul check in with us with a big Raiders. See if I get his attention.
Raiders.
Yeah, close enough. Detroit God is in the house. What's up, man? Marlo's showing up. What's up, Marlo?
No.
Let's see. Chewy's in the house. What's up, Chewy? How you doing?
Out of there.
Pinned at the top of the chat, so everybody's aware. It is scrolling along the bottom of the screen, but pinned at the top of the chat is the GoFundMe for the family, for the donations to help alleviate some of the medical costs for Raider, and also the Cash App. So if anybody wants to use the Cash App or the GoFundMe, they're both there. not asking for, just whatever you can do. If you guys want to donate, that's absolutely terrific. We appreciate any little bit you can help out with. But the whole gist of tonight's interview with the family is to get more of a background on what the family's been through with Raiders' condition and everything leading up to it, and to where we are right now at this moment. We're 2.5 weeks removed from his last major surgery. He can make all the noise he wants. This is a show for him and about him, so
Okay.
I'm fine with him talking it up, chatting it
All
up.
right.
He's awesome. He's got free reign.
This is him showing you how good he's doing. He's like, I got lungs.
Yeah, it shows you how strong he's gotten. So again, anybody that donates, we do appreciate anything you can do. So we're gonna. I want to ask some questions about his condition, and I don't know if you guys can explain to the viewers what congenital heart defect Rada has been what he was diagnosed with, basically.
I'm gonna let my wife answer this. She's a lot more better at the medical terms.
He was diagnosed with an atrial septal valve defect, a ventricular.
Hold on, can we elaborate on the first one first?
So the valve between the atrium, it has like a little bit of a hole in it, and like the muscle wall, and then a ventricular septal valve defect, which is the same issue, but it's in the ventricular, which is like the bottom chamber of the heart.
Okay.
His aorta was a little bit narrowed. And then he's got a couple other complicated medical terms for different holes, but they were all basically in the muscle. They were in areas where they wouldn't close on their own.
There was 5 total holes in his heart.
And then he has a Y chromosome defect, and they think that that's what affected his heart.
Really?
But
okay.
His heart condition, it's actually rare, so they don't really have a lot of information on it right now. So kind of as science develops and he gets bigger, then they're hoping to learn more about what it is, what caused it. Like, they don't even know what caused it. They think it was just like a random anomaly that happened.
Wow. So now, was this something that, when did you first learn that something might be wrong with it? Did you know prior to him being born, or was this after?
Before he was born, we knew of at least 2 holes in his heart because they have the ability to do ultrasounds on a baby's heart while they're in utero, so they can look at the chambers and the walls and stuff, and they found 2 holes before he was even born.
Okay.
So we were kind of prepared. I mean, nothing prepares you for it, but we were anticipating that he had, she had an extra OBGM or whatever it was called. What is that called?
OBGYN?
Yeah. And so they basically, paid a lot more attention and was around more and just kind of did a lot more echographs and sonographs. And then once he was born, it was quite clear that he had 5 instantly. And so then he had to go on oxygen and in an incubator. So it was pretty much just rush. And
Yeah.
due to the fact that he has dwarfism, he was too small. They couldn't do surgery. They just decided he was too small. They wanted to wait till he was a bigger weight. And so that's been a lot of his life was just waiting to get to size. He's 3 years old and weighs 26 pounds. So he's very, very small. Yeah, you can say that.
He's such a ham for the camera. I love it.
He's trying to get the phone.
So was he? So in other words, if he was of a bigger weight when he was born, they would have done the surgery immediately. Then is what you're saying?
Yep.
Okay.
They were just worried with his size and everything, with how many holes. It just would be too much for him to take.
Yeah.
And then he had to go on oxygen, and then so many other things. He was just basically too weak. And for the first, about 6 months, he was completely just immobile. You seen the veins in his head, and so Mainly everything
So
was.
I'm gonna put a picture up. So this was roughly just, you said just after he was born, right? Was
Yep.
this one?
Yep.
Okay. And I think that's the same. Yeah, it's pretty much the same time frame as that one there, though.
So that was about 6 months in total of like that.
And then this one here was what? How long after?
That was more closer about the 8-month babe.
It's
So
something
he
like
still hadn't had surgeries then at this
No,
point, right?
he's only
No.
had the G tube. Yep.
in the
Okay.
fundo.
And the fundo surgery. Yep.
So he's had that G tube since he was born, then basically, or
He was
20 days old.
almost 2 months
Or
old.
2 months old. Yep. So
again,
he
you
had no other
wouldn't
way
even.
to eat. He had no other way to eat. He wouldn't take. He was vomiting profusely and blood in the stools every time that mama fed him. So they thought he was lactose intolerant, but it just he couldn't eat it. He couldn't handle it because of the
Okay.
holes of his heart. But he's definitely not lactose intolerant now. Cheese is his favorite thing in the world.
So let me. So what are basically some of the surgeries? Or well, actually, pretty much. You said he's pretty much. There's no future procedures other than getting the G tube removed. Then, correct?
So at this point, as long as Raider stays the way he's going,
Yeah.
Raiders had 5 total surgeries. They were complicated. The first 3, 4 didn't understand what they were doing. We were in Sacred Heart in Washington State, and that was where we spent the majority of it. And basically, they just not incompetence of the doctors, but just not a bigger understanding. Wasn't as big of a hospital as this one. Once we got here, they really got a better understanding on what it was, and they were able
Yeah.
to close up in all 5 holes at once, which the previous doctors hadn't been able to do. And so they also were able to cut open his aorta and expand on that.
No.
And you see him 2 weeks later.
No. We're not doing that.
So my guy Chris is checking in. Chris Faridas, Jason Downs is here too. They're checking in to say hi too.
Family.
Yeah, Chris just said it too. It seems like he wants to play instead of
Yep.
interview.
He definitely does.
And Leo's here now too. What's up, Leo? I've been doing it all along already, Leo. And he lights right up. Ready? Watch this. And I don't normally do this on camera or on shows. Ready? Raiders.
Yeah, can you say Raiders?
Like calm them right down. So what are the actual surgeries he's actually gone through then?
So he's had a fundo.
Mm-hmm.
He's also had the G2 put in.
Yeah.
He's had 3 heart surgeries, attempted surgeries, and then he has had this final 4th one.
So on the 3 that you said, the attempted ones, were they going in with the intent to do what they just did?
Yes.
A few weeks ago. All right.
Yep.
And so what was it? It just wasn't big enough yet. So
basically, every time they sealed it, it would reopen up, and the same complication would occur, and then he would get worse. And so then it was a matter of the first time they put him on, what was it, babe? Fentanyl, and then it was 21 days of pure withdrawal, sicker than I've ever seen Raider.
really.
And that was mainly from the fentanyl that they put him on. And he had a really hard time. Withdrawal for him was really severe.
So now on those attempted surgeries, have they actually gone in to try and do stuff for him, or like they put him under the whole 9 yards? So yeah.
Yep.
So unfortunately, they had to put him under to do those. They just couldn't actually complete the surgery.
Yep. So they did a lot of them. They did complete. They just reopened. The hole didn't take the surgery. Basically the same.
Okay.
Because of the other blood flows, that the issues they had, it would re-stress that what they did, and it would reopen up the other holes. And so because it was basically, we have a picture on our Facebook that I should have sent to you, and actually has a diagram of where the holes are, and it basically completed like this complete circle. And so anything that he did is just rotated back and forth and would basically open up the other one.
So I guess, I mean, I kind of know, but I want to have the viewers and the people that have been following, because a lot of people have been following your story. since we really got into, helping, trying to help out and do what we can for you. But how has his condition affected like your day to day life for you and the family?
So day to day life, it's spent basically 2 years of his life in the hospital. He's 3 years old, and it's been 2 years of his life in the hospital. I had to leave our last house and live in a McDonald house for a year, and with work and things like that. I used to do construction, and then I had to stop doing construction because I just had to do too much with Raider. And then I fell off a roof, and long story short, Mama don't let me on a roof no more.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that, Chris. But he just, it didn't matter. We were at the point where it didn't matter what it was, how long it took. We were gonna make it work, and so that's just kind of. And he smiles every day in surgery. I mean, there would be
every
fight.
time every time I've seen every time you've sent me pictures of him or videos, I've never seen him outside of maybe one, and it was just after surgery. Now, I think when he was sitting up with, where you could see
Yeah,
his incision from his chest with the bandage on it. That might be the only time I've seen any pictures of him where he's alert and he wasn't smiling. Everything else, he's always smiling, or he's playing with his toys or whatever. So it's to see him like this right now. Again, I've said it to you before that people that don't know what he's been through, you wouldn't know from looking at him or
no.
listening to him. I mean, he's got a healthy set of lungs on him, that's for sure. You don't have to
Oh
worry
yeah.
about lung problems.
Yes.
Um, so, what keeps you as the family strong during some of these hottest days? Because I know this hasn't been easy on you. Dealing with this, the traveling back and forth from the hospital, and just everything you've endured through these 3 years with dealing with his condition.
Mainly, just his smile. And really, honestly, just that exact thing. There was never a time where, even in our most miserable days, even when we were just exhausted, you know what I mean, and traveling, I was trying to work, I was trying to get there. My wife and I would literally have fights on who's going to stay at the hospital because we have another son that they wouldn't allow him in the hospital. So we always had Devin Jr. or him. So one of us had to be, that constant. It was one of us couldn't be there. And so then the battles began of, hey, I've worked 12 hours. I want to go see Raider now, but she wouldn't want to leave. And so there was a lot of, very angry fights on that. But we just every time we see him, just that smile just kept making it no matter what was worth it. So
So how often did Devin Jr. get to see him? Did he get to see him at all during that time, or just
every
very sparingly?
so once to what was it? Once to three times, depending on the hospitals. It was once to three times a week. They would set up to where they would let Junior come in, and they'd all play downstairs. And Raider would come down, and he'd have his little bed and his little incubators, and Junior would get to see him. But Junior, with him nonverbal autistic, he hadn't really showed no understanding. He just wanted to play. And so for him, it was more of an inconvenience. I don't have my room. I don't have nothing to play in.
Yeah.
There's nowhere for him to be in the little hospital room because he likes to run.
What have you taken from this? This is a question for both of you, obviously. What has Rita taught you every day through his play? Like what is he? What is he? I guess everybody learns something from their children. So what is it you guys took from him? Like you've learned from him during this situation?
Never give up.
Yep. Just that, I was an addict for 10 years before this. And it just gave me life every day, how precious it was and what it meant to stay sober. Even on the days where I was stressed out and crying, I wanted to go back to drinking. But then I would see that smile or that little, a little sit up or just do something to show that it wasn't over. Because at 9 months they wanted to actually terminate life. And so that
Really?
was a decision that we had to make. They brought that up several times. They said his quality of life with how small he was, with him not having the surgeries. Basically, also the cost. Everything was. We don't have insurance, very good insurance. I'm not a big corporate guy or nothing like that. So I'm just a 9 to 5. And so they basically were determining or gave us that alternative. And after I would say 32 seconds, maybe, me and my wife looking at each other, we said, absolutely not. It don't matter what cost, no matter how long it takes.
Yeah.
If he's gonna go, it's gonna be him, and it's not gonna be us putting him.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough decision to make too. I definitely get that, and I can definitely see what you're saying as far as what he taught you. I mean, look at him.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
No.
Um, I mean, this is kind of a hard question, I guess, to kind of answer. But have there been moments of joy, even in some of the worst situations that you guys have been in with with this whole situation that you'd like to share? If you don't want to share, then that's fine. I get
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah, there's been lots of moments of joy. Um, we got to go to the beach and put his name in the sand, and he got to go with us, and we got to rate her in the sand, and went up on the water, and just there was times where he got to come home for 2 days, 3 days before he got sick, and every time that he did come home, we always did something to the zoo, just little memories, and just all those happy moments that we got with them just showed why we were doing it, and
Yeah.
why it meant something. Plus, my wife and I, she makes me want to do it as well.
So let me ask you this: how has your community, both locally and in Raider Nation, stepped up to help support and kind of give you some sort of confidence and to continue doing what caring for him and doing what you're doing for him and the family? Because I mean, people forget that it's not just Raider. You've got another son that you have to tend to too. That's also got his own set of issues. Based on what you've informed us. That he's autistic and everything. So I mean that again is another whole separate entity and all this that people don't understand or don't really know about until you mentioned it earlier. You know. So what has the community and Raider Nation um, done for you as far as like giving you uplift and
So I've been a Raiders fan since I was 7. My grandpa took me to an Oakland Raiders football game in Oakland, and everyone in my family, salute everyone in my family is a Seahawk fan. And my grandpa took me I just fell in love with the Pirates. Once I seen the Pirates there in Oakland, I just was like, I can't. It was the love of my life, the apple of my eye. And so I became this, I got it tattooed on me, and just became a super diehard Raiders fan. And so I posted a lot about Raider on a lot of chats that I had, and really didn't get a whole lot of, prayers, and which is great, and you know what I mean, but not really a whole bunch of recognition. So it was a little discouragement, but at that time the Raiders, it was Mitchell Ren's channel, and there was another channel I can't remember. Samoan Raider when we first started that. They were always on while we were in the hospital, and so we would play it, and Raider would light up. You would hear it in the background, and them doing the Raiders, and then they're just talking, and you could just see Raider's eyes moving, and just so that was the community support. I mean, he was hearing it, listening to it, and when Raider was born, we were actually watching the Mitchell Ren's report, and we'd sit a super chat saying he's coming, his name's Raider, and so he got to be incorporated into the community. And then
nice.
Jeff, we met you, and now the community has supported us tenfold, and we have for the last 2 years. Everyone's done prayers and talked. There's been a lot of independent people that have without any type of promotion or without any type of awareness, have stepped in tremendously and been advocates and just been supporters and prayers. And I don't want to name all of them without their permissions, but I mean,
I
there's
get
been
it.
so many of them that have really taken over, and you're definitely one of them. Ow.
I appreciate that. I've seen you in the chats. Like I think I saw your name pop up when I was first starting to watch Mitch rants, and I hadn't really watched them in a while. And I saw your name in there, and I saw people react to you. And then I started seeing you show up in chats on shows that I did or shows that I watch. And then I really kind of got to understand, what was going on. And then I think I reached out to you at that point and really got the full story as to, everything that was going on. I'm like, oh my God, we got to do something. And, I started doing some stuff on the backside. I didn't tell anybody. Nobody knew I was doing anything other than you. And from when I talked to you, and then that Wednesday night before we started the show, I was talking to Leo and the guy, Leo, Jay, and Nate on the Raider Connection, and we just made it an effort to let's start really pushing this, and it just turned into what it turned into that night. And it's that right there, that night of that show is where it really got the ball rolling, um, to try and do what we could to help. It's not just me, you know. There's so many guys and so many fans that have been involved in this. Between that night with Nate, Leo, Jay, starting that off. Navman stepped in and done what he's done for sure. I know G Fam's done a lot as far as donations and such. So, I mean, there's a lot of people. I don't know the specifics on everybody that donated. I don't want to know. That's their personal, private information. Like, if anybody gives anything to you guys tonight, you don't have to tell me. That's between you and that whoever that is. It's completely anonymous. Um, so there's still more. I'm still trying to work on some other stuff. I'm not done. So it's not like I don't want people to think like, oh, his surgery's over. He's looking good. He's healthy. No, there's still more to this. And getting with that, the more to this is, you know, the financial situation. If you don't want to divulge how much, I know you've already told me. I said, but how have the medical costs, travel, and time away from home impacted you and the family? Emotionally and I guess financially, but that's up to you if you want to say
Yep.
everything. I know, but I'm not going to say anything. I'm
Yep.
leaving that up to you.
It's taken a major toll. I mean, I'm not. I have never been a insurance type of guy. I work your basic jobs, and a lot of them times I just don't pay into insurance because I do a lot of construction, and as everyone knows, this construction field, it's just you get what you get. But it's between hotels, $110 a day, this that. Right now, we're about $3.7 million in debt for just Raider alone and his medical costs, and that's just the medical side. We're about $12,000 in debt from credit cards and stuff like that. But we've paid a good chunk of that off. But that was for motels and food and every little bit there and there, and outside of that, since December, like me and you have talked about, without a paycheck, having to completely just stop work for hours, 2 hours here, is when there's a lot of money going out and not a lot of coming in. It makes things difficult and fights amongst
Yeah.
ourselves, and then decisions. There have been many times where me and my wife would just sleep in the car because we couldn't afford the motel, and we would have Junior with us, a 3-year-old, and we'd be out sleeping in Spokane, Washington, with leaving him to drive. We'd leave the car running all night because we couldn't afford the $110 for the motel room tonight, and the hospital put us up in a little bit for here and there, but always was very short term. Soon as he got better, any type of well, they'd kick us out, and then we would lose the Ronald McDonald House because it's very difficult to get back in. Or they say it's not available. Or
Now that's up when you were in Washington still.
yep. And we actually were. You can find us on Google on that. We were in the Ronald McDonald House there in Washington in July, and it was the biggest take on that Ronald McDonald's ever taked on. And we got to lead and go on the news, and we were on the news. So Raider was on the news on that Spokane tribute, which was really, really cool. Yeah.
So you were in Washington. I thought you were in Texas the whole time when he was born. So
No.
you were still in you were in Washington State when he was born. So all this medical treatment started up that way.
Correct.
And then when you came down here, that's
Yep.
when you got hooked up with the Children's Hospital in Plano, correct? Right?
Yep.
Plano.
We've only been in Texas since November.
Okay. All right. November. All right.
But
I thought you were down. I thought you guys had been down here for a couple of years. I didn't know you had started somewhere else too. Had they ever?
we've been here twice before this. This is where my wife's from. This town that we're actually in now is exactly where my wife grew up, right down the street.
Okay.
So we were here before for I think like 4 months. I do roofing, and I couldn't do roofing in 110-degree weather for $12.50 an hour. I never in Texas wages were ridiculous. I said I'm going back to Washington where I make $28.32. You know what I mean? Like it just it was just cost was better or more expensive. But when you at the end of the day, when you worked a 10-hour shift and you make $80 and you've been on a roof in 110, you're like no, no.
So everybody that's watching, just let that sink in. How much this is going to cost them? Basically, $3.7 million. That's insane. I mean, you can't put a price on a life. So I mean, for what you've done for him and what you've gotten accomplished with him, with how he is right now, basically. I mean, he's priceless. It's a human life. It's a child. I mean, look at him. He's a ball of energy. I mean, not right now. It looks like he's ready to fall asleep now.
Yep.
A few minutes ago, he was going crazy. So
there he goes. He's back again.
Yep. So it's like you can't put a price on that. I mean, even if it cost you $15 million, you've got your son.
Yep.
He's on a road to hopefully a long, prosperous, and healthy life. It just 3.7 million. When you told me that yesterday, it damn near fell out of my chair. I couldn't believe that it was that much.
Well, between all the heart surgeries and the stays at the hospital, that's realistically, they're anywhere from $600 to $800 a day for the intensive care units, and that's the biggest one. When you don't ever see that type of money coming in, you're like, "What are you charging? How much for what?"
Yeah. So I mean, pretty much you just tied this all kind of like right into the. You've already answered the other question I was going to ask, which was the specific challenges you face, like the transportation, the lodge, and I know food was an issue too because you had told me that the social worker, the care worker from the hospital, basically when you asked for help, tossed you a $50 gas card and said, "Here you go." And you live 3 hours away. And I just found out last week that you drive a big ass Suburban. So that $50 ain't going to go far at all. That's not even going to basically fill the tank on that thing, to be honest with you.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know what gas prices are down there, but I know what they are up here.
$2.99 here.
How much?
$2.99. So it's really good.
Than it is here.
Real good for tech. I will admit the gas is a lot better than anything I've ever been used to.
I don't even know what Oz is at right now. I don't drive that much. The wife usually uses the car, so I have no idea what it's at right now.
We're at over $5 in Washington. So
yeah, I know it's high on the West Coast. California's up there too, I believe. What is it? It's $3 a gallon here.
Hey, so it's the same.
Yeah, it's about the same as you. So that just blew my mind when she told you that, or when you told me that she gave you a $50 gas card. I'm like, what is that going to do? There's so many other things. That's just that person doing the bare minimum. Is how I kind of took that because there's so many programs that she could have helped. I mean, she wasn't even pushing, for the Ronald McDonald House, and that's when I told you. I said, no, you need to push her about this because there's no reason why you shouldn't have been approved for that a long time ago.
So
that would have saved you so much money right there.
When we asked her, they said that there was no funding for it available, and so that was the first. So we just kind of Um, hey, Ardell. Um, we've never really went back after that. It was kind of one of those. I was embarrassed already to ask, especially when we went and asked for food, because I just let him know that hey, it'd been at this point it'd been almost a whole day since Jolie and I had ate. We've been stuck in the hospital, and I didn't have a single dollar to go out and go down in the cafeteria. $10 buys you nothing, and you were just like, okay, well, we're hungry.
I kind of get where you're coming from. That as a father myself, um, and the provider for your family too. I understand why you wouldn't push because that's more of a pride thing. I get it because I would have probably been the same way. But there's times where you need to push people because they're not doing their absolute most to help you, and that's what they're there for. They're there to help you.
Yep.
Hopefully going forward, if you need anything, you know, she now knows you a little bit better, knows that, hey, listen, this is what we need, you know. But let's hope that you don't need that service anymore.
Yeah,
So,
that's the ultimate goal. And
I
so,
know besides financial help, I mean, a lot of people have been, donating to either the GoFundMe. I know some people that first Wednesday night did a bunch of super chats, which will come out in July, and I've already discussed that with you for what's coming from my end. In the GoFundMe, the Cash App. But I also know a lot of people have been emotionally and like spiritually, excuse me, supporting you. I mean, there's been a lot of people that have been saying prayers for Raider and for the family too. So that's also appreciated. Anybody that does do that, continues to send you know thoughtful prayers to them, and look at the little man. Look at him. Look,
more than
he's
you
so
can know.
content.
I don't want to cut you off, Jeff, but money comes and goes. It's one of those things that it's always can be earned. But to have someone sit there and tell you that they love you, have someone care, ask how he's doing, have them send little smiley faces, we're with you. Those
Yeah.
little things last lifetimes. Those are the little things that help the most get through the day. Um, it's nothing to go without a lunch for something for 5 minutes, but just having a word of someone cares for you and cares for him. Those were always the biggest things that we were looking for. When we lost Autumn, we were devastated. It was one of those
A
those
lot of
situations.
just to let you know, a lot of people don't know that.
Oh, I apologize. I thought, yeah,
So if you want to explain that, just
yeah.
I'll
Uh,
give you the floor.
well, Raider was in the hospital. My wife and I became pregnant with Autumn Wind, and normal pregnancy all the way up and almost full term. Raider ended up getting really, really, really sick and went back into the hospital again. And my wife really became so attached to being there for Raider. Raider was in a really bad. That was when we were doing the fentanyl. We weren't doing fentanyl. He was there on fentanyl.
I
He
know.
rephrased that, and he got. And so my wife is type 1 diabetic. She stopped, checking her blood sugar, checking her insulin, not giving herself her insulin, just solely on Raider. Her 24 hours a day, her mind was sitting there holding Raider as she's doing now, staring at him. This is Mama. This is her baby boy. And because of that, Jolie got ended up going into a diabetic coma herself. And due to the diabetic coma, excuse me, we had to do a C-section at 39 weeks,
24.
24 weeks, excuse me.
Oh wow.
And, excuse me. And she made it 7 minutes. I got to hold her the whole time. My wife was unconscious during all of it, so she didn't get to hold her. But she did pass. She just was unable. There was just she couldn't take. And so after that situation, um, it was the biggest drain mentally, physically, and the nation's really what supported us. And that's when we really got linked up with Mitchell Renz and a couple of the other ones. People were sending prayers and people were just checking in on us daily. And without that, me and my wife had talked about divorce. We talked about, there was a lot of anger. There was a lot of all kinds of emotions when you lose a child. Um, Things that you don't understand to even know that you're mad about, you're mad at. So, but The nation's the one that got us.
You want to see Beta?
I saw him. I was on live. Give me
Okay,
I'm going back.
Good night.
Nice to meet you.
Night,
That's
guys.
Dawn. That's my wife, Dawn.
Hi, nice to
Night,
meet
Rider.
Look at
Night,
look
Rider.
at him.
you. He's like, I'm out. Oh, he's gonna pull Mama's hair. That's his favorite game.
Yeah, Ardell says there's so many kids that aren't loved. This little guy ain't one of them. You two are good parents and in the face of a real hardship. Oh, without a doubt.
Thank you, guys.
I mean, everybody that's come across, that's been involved in helping you guys out and sending the prayers and commenting on the shows and everything. We've all basically kind of adopted him in a way too. I mean, it just,
He's the nation's
that's
baby.
why I said, what did I say to you on the phone last night when we talked? We talked for a good almost an hour plus.
Yeah.
And I said, someday we are all going to meet up in person. And I'm going to give that little man the biggest hug because I wish I could have him sitting on my lap right now and just give him a big hug.
Yep.
He's just such an awesome little dude for what he's been through.
Oh, he's gonna give you a little huggins.
Makes me feel more patient for my wife and our 5 kids. Makes me remember what really matters. I appreciate y'all sharing with all of us. Real talk.
Amen.
Yeah, and that's what this was about tonight. This was a chance to have them tell their story. To really touch everybody in the heart and put it out there that this is what we've gone through. They've been challenged as a family with a task of caring for these children that have all of them have had issues at this point. Now you've got another one coming at what you explained to me today. If you want to divulge that, as far as what
So we had some multiple ultrasounds done, and Jasmine Rain is looking 100% healthy, no complications, and the 3D image that we got to see of her was absolutely stunning. She has Daddy's big lips. I don't know if you can see my lips through my big beard. Daddy's got big old lips, and she's already got Daddy's lips and my big old head.
So we're gonna kind of wind this down. I got a couple of 2 questions left here.
Okay.
So if Raider could speak to Raider Nation today, what do you think he'd say?
The biggest thing that I think Raider would say was just thank you and hold my bootstraps because I'm coming. He's such a fighter. Every single day, he just wants to fight and show he's there, and he's Max Crosby, man. There's no other way to explain it. That's why our dream has always been for Raider to meet Max. That commitment to excellence. It's just he has that Raider mentality that I'm just gonna keep going no matter how bad it is, whatever it is, and I'm just here.
It's almost like Raider's developing his own commitment to excellence himself in true Raider form. He's striving for that. You can tell he's gonna have, like I said to you last night when we talked on the phone, he's gonna have a heck of a story to tell as he gets older.
Oh yes, he is.
With everything he's gone through and how everybody just embraced him. It just it's just been I'm trying to fight the words or the moment. It just it hit me when I first really got the true full story from you, not the true but the full story from you. It hit me. It hit me differently. I don't know why. I mean, you saw my reaction that Wednesday night. That was 100% genuine.
Yes.
I mean, I was kind of almost losing it. Like I could have really broke down big time that night.
We saw Chris. He had tears in his eyes. I didn't know.
we all did.
Yeah.
It was just it was a touching moment that Wednesday night when we first brought this to everybody's attention. And we're here to support him in any way and support you as a family any way we can. Um, so again, everybody that's in the chat, thank you for being here tonight. I'm not done just yet. But don't forget, top of the chat is pinned for the GoFundMe link, and the Cash App, which is $unicorn shine 0324. It's scrolling along the bottom of the screen during the show. Any little bit helps. We appreciate anything anybody can do. So let me ask you one last question here, Devin. Going forward from here on, how can our viewers follow your journey and stay connected with any type of updates?
So they can always find us in any of our, Devin Rogers Messenger, Instagram, also my wife Jolie Foster. But we always love to share updates on Raider. That is one thing we have always wanted to make Raider access to the nation, because he is the nation's baby, man. Without the nation, we wouldn't be where we are today. We wouldn't have all the support and love, and so yeah, anyone that wants updates, pictures, we have done meetups already. We've had several players, and not players, but people that we've got to meet. Now, I wish players. That's my goal. But got to meet so many not influential people now, and which has been really a big cool thing. Raider's a little star now.
Yeah. If he's not, we're gonna make him one. Trust me.
Yeah. And but yeah, we're always happy. Me, myself, or my wife. My wife's a little bit more uncomfortable with individual messages. Just there's some definitely different times in this world. but yeah, they can always reach her or me.
So I'm gonna putting your Instagram link in the chat too. So that's his Instagram if anybody wants to reach out to Devin that way. I talk to Devin at least not every day, but maybe every other day on the phone. But we're constantly in contact, whether it be Instagram or Facebook Messenger or text. So
or I'm photo dumping you on you.
Huh?
Or I'm photo dumping on you. Just
Yeah.
send a bunch of photos.
So any updates I get, when I'm on the show, I'll put it out there. Any updates like I have been doing. Anything comes up, we'll be notified. Everybody will know about it. So when is he scheduled to go in to have his G-tube removed?
So after surgery, it's going to be 90 days to see how much he weight gains. If he does a significant amount of weight gain, then we can work on getting the G-tube removed. They just are concerned that after surgery that he'll drop in weight. So they want to make sure, because he's not going to have the energy to eat, but he has. He's already shown that, and so there was a major oral aversion to food because he had the tubes down his throat for so long.
Yeah.
So he didn't want any type of food. He wouldn't touch food, and then that's why the G-tube was his only source. But he's gotten to the point now where any fruits and vegetables, that's his favorite thing. Tomatoes, cheese, all that. He don't really like meat. He's not a meat eater. He don't like really any meat, but he loves his fruits and vegetables. So, Always giving everyone kisses.
What's up, buddy? Mwah.
Thank you.
So I thank you both and Raider for coming on tonight. I know this isn't easy to do an interview like this, but it's a nice quiet setting. I thank you both for coming on with me. And I hope we enlightened, the followers that have been following your story, a little bit more in depth of what's fully going on. I'm not just Raider, but the whole family too.
Yep.
There's other things going on that some people probably weren't aware. So that just adds more stress to you guys too,
Yep.
So appreciate you both for coming on here. Appreciate everybody that's in the chat. Any final words you guys want to put out before we call it a night?
yeah, just we really. I know we don't want to make this about you, Jeff, but we really want to thank you for all the support you do, not only for us, but what you do for Raider Nation. The shield that you represent means a lot to a lot of people, and you carry
Thank
that
you.
well, brother. And it's more than just I'm a Raider fan. This is a whole lifestyle. We're
Oh yeah.
and it means a lot to us to see it carried on well and not just for financial gain or to talk about it being stupid. And that's why I've stopped watching a lot of the other channels as they've gone so left field. I still support them. You claim to be a Raider, once a Raider, always a Raider, but you're one of the real ones, man, and that's one thing that means
Thank
the
you.
most.
I appreciate that. But just keep in mind, it wasn't just me. There's a
Absolutely.
whole army. There's a whole army working right along with me to
Yep. You were just one of the stepping
do what
stones in
we
the foundation, brother. You
can
were
for you
definitely one
guys.
of
You
them.
know that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna continue to do what we can.
Oh, we're losing you. That was weird.
Okay.
We're back.
Yeah, I think I just had a little hiccup with the internet connection on my end. It wasn't on your end. It was on my end.
Looked like you had a seizure.
All right. So I will. We'll be in touch as always. So until next time, Raider Nation, we're going to give out another shout to Raider here real quick. Raider.
Raider. Yeah.
And
Thank you,
as
Jeff.
always, everybody, when I at the end of my shows, you're very welcome. I appreciate you both for being on here. Raider, you be a good boy, all right, buddy? I'll talk to you. And as I always say before I log off, go Raiders, stay safe.
Stay safe.